everyone, and welcome to A Stitch in Time. Today is Wednesday, September 28th, 2022, and this is episode 232. I'm Carol, also known as Knits and Pearls on Ravelry, and I live east of Vancouver in the Fraser Valley of British Columbia, Canada. I hope you're all doing well and that you've had a good week. My week has had some ups and downs, as I guess most weeks do, as I guess all weeks do. But I am really happy to be here with you today and sharing with you all the things that I've been working on since we last spoke about a week ago. Before I do so, though, I just want to remind you that the Year of the Stash Make-Along is taking place in the A Stitch in Time podcast Ravelry group. And we're coming up on the end of September, as unbelievable as that seems. So if you have completed your socks for the August portion of the Personal Sock Yarn Club, make sure to post them in the FO thread by the end of the month, because I will be drawing prizes for that and for the September portion of the general Year of the Stash chatter thread in my next episode. Okay, I have two finished projects this week. First up are my September socks for the Personal Sock Yarn Club, and I finished them with just not much time to spare. I just finished these last night, or I guess yesterday afternoon, and then I soaked and blocked them last night. The yarn I used is Fiber Nymph Dye Works on the Bounce Base. This is the Apple Turnovers colorway, and it was part of the Encore Yarn and Fiber Club from last September. This was a repeat of the Just Desserts Club. I went digging around in my Fiber Nymph Dye Works leftovers stash, and I found this leftovers from a mini skein of warm honey, also in the Bounce Base. So I've used that for the heels. So been watching for a while, you can probably recite this by heart. Top down on a 2mm needle, 2x2 rib, I did a German short row heel and my usual rounded toe. So I will bring that in a little bit closer so you can get a really good look at that colorway. Very autumnal, rightly so. It is now officially fall here in the Northern Hemisphere, and it's starting to feel a little bit like it today. It was actually quite warm for the past couple days, but now it's overcast and it looks like it's even sprinkling just a little bit out there. So there we go. I think that's all I have to say about those. And then I'm wearing my second finished project. This is what I'm calling my Spring Fling Brighten Up. The pattern is Brighten Up by Lisa K. Ross of Paper Daisy Creations. And the reason I'm calling it my Spring Fling Brighten Up is because I am using leftovers, or I did use leftovers from the Spring Fling Party of 5 mini skein set from Sweet Georgia Yarns. And I didn't have quite enough of those, and so I added in some leftovers from my Wild Bees wrap by Helen Stewart that I had used alongside the Spring Fling Party of 5. And so it's all these same colors being reunited. I am going to take it off, not only so I can show it to you better, but also because even though it is overcast today, it's still warm enough for me to be in a sleeveless t-shirt and a pair of shorts. How about I come closer for a sec so you can just see how it looks on. There you go. And then I'll take it off. And first of all, I'm going to turn it around, talk about the back, because that is where you start. So I originally started it with the pink flamingo colorway here. Then I decided, when I realized that I would potentially have enough of this desert clay colorway to be color 1, I took it back because I really wanted the pink to be the central focus of the cowl. As it turned out, I did not have quite enough desert clay to complete the color 1 portions, but I was able to fudge it a little bit. So after the desert clay, color 2 was not part of the party of 5. This was some lichen and lace 80/20 sock in the Daylily colorway. And I used that as color 2, but I also used another color as color 2. So color 3 was dried lavender. Color 4 was the gold here, which is golden hour. And then color 5 was pink flamingo. So on the front, I substituted color 2. Instead of using this Daylily, I switched to leftovers of a skein of Tough Love sock from Sweet Georgia Yarns called Rose Day. And so that became my color 2 on the front. And then I actually didn't, as I said, didn't have enough of the desert clay to complete this section properly, so I subbed in a stripe of the Daylily for the desert clay here. It's definitely a scrappy project, but the rest was knit with the colors as they were supposed to be, and that's how it looks when it's all done. This is now the 3rd of these cowls that I have made, and I do have plans to make at least 1 more. And I'm still not tired of this pattern. I think it's a great pattern for leftovers and a great way to play with color because the possibilities are literally endless. So I'm looking forward to wearing this when it gets a little bit cooler out. We're not quite there yet. Now, I had not planned to talk about my ranunculus today because I had not worked on it all week. But after I finished my both of those projects, I didn't have any sort of plain knitting to do. And so I did pick it back up this morning. Or no, I guess I did it last night. No, I think it was this morning. And when I left it, I'd finished all the patterning on the yoke and it was time to start the raglan increases. I'm sure everyone, or pretty well everyone, knows about Ranunculus by Midori Hirose. I am knitting mine out of 2 yarns held together. I'm using Quince & Company Chickadee in the Goldfinch colorway, and this is, I think, a sport weight yarn. And I'm holding it with 2 strands of this lace weight yarn. Whoops, wrong label. This is Merino Oro from Ornagi Filati. And it's just color 20. Just a very, very off-white. I think they call it white, but it's got just a slight creaminess to it. And it looks like this when it's all knit up. So let's see. Kind of a mess. All these ends. I'm actually alternating skeins because when I was holding the skeins of the Chickadee together, it seemed like some were a little more green than others, and so what I decided to do is alternate every couple of rows just to make sure that the color distribution will be good. So here it is so far. You will notice that I have done the raglan increases, and I substituted lifted increases for the knit front and back that the pattern calls for. And then I knit straight for a little bit, and then I divided for the body and sleeves, and I knit a little bit more. I had a feeling that I maybe should have knit a few more rows before dividing for the body and sleeves, and I have it on a couple of different needles here. I tried it on, and it's just a little bit too high on my armpit than I want. So I'm going to take this back and join it in the round again, the whole thing, knit a few more rounds, and then divide, and then it should be fine. And it looks like the sizing will be really good as far as the yoke sitting, where it sits, where the sleeves sit, where the body size. I think I've landed on the right number of stitches. I'm just knitting the small size. The only thing I've really altered is I did not do short rows here as instructed. I just did them in the back. I used a alternating cable cast on instead of the cast-ons that were suggested, and so my neck does come up quite close to, my neckline comes quite close to my neck, as opposed to some that seem to sit, you know, sort of off the shoulder. And then what else did I do? Oh, I just, instead of just the way I was instructed to do the raglan increases, I put some plain rows in between them just because I knew I was going to have more length. I feel like I was going to say something else, but I don't think so. I think that's all I can think of. So yeah, really happy with how it's coming along. Not sure how much time I'll have to work on it going forward in the foreseeable future, but I think I will make a point of getting it, like redoing, like taking it back, knitting a few more rows, splitting again for the armholes and sleeves, and then, or body and sleeves, and then I can work on it when I have a chance, because the way it was before, I needed to think about it, and it just wasn't getting worked on because it was too much trouble. So if I can get it back to a point where it's easy to pick up and just knit a few rows here and there, you know, maybe I can get it done over the next month or two. It's not my priority, but I would like to see it done. It's a really pretty sweater. The project that has garnered most of my attention this week is my Mountain Musings mystery shawl knit along from Lisa K. Ross of Paper Daisy Creations. As always, I'll let you know that I'm going to be showing it and talking about it. And so if you do not want to be spoiled, I'll put a timestamp in here, and then you can skip ahead to after I've finished talking about it. So fair warning, I'm going to talk about it now. So this shawl has continued to bring me a great deal of pleasure. There have been so many interesting stitch patterns, and we're constantly changing colors. It's just made for such a very entertaining knit. And for someone like me who really is a process knitter, it's had everything I've needed to hold my attention. So I'm just trying to untangle some yarns from around the needles here. So a reminder, I am using these yarns from Sweet Paprika Designs. This is the Majestic Vista colorway or set that was designed for this make-along. I am almost out of my navy skein. That's all that I have left, but I still have quite a bit left of all of the other colors. So I guess I'll give you a recap of how far I've come, and then I'll show you what's new this week. So this is the beginnings. Actually, I'm going to go this way because the patterns do orient themselves in a particular way. Yeah, so this was the beginnings of it, this big diamond shape in the middle. And then we've gradually worked our way up. So we started with color, contrast color 1, and worked our way all the way out to contrast color 7. So then did this lace panel. I know last week I named all the stitch patterns. I don't have them all in front of me, but I did tell them last week. So then there was this mosaic one. Went on to this. And I think last week when I shared this with you, I think I had only done one repeat of this pattern. And this was the Wildflower Fields, I think is what it was called, something like that. And then we got our clue 4. So we moved on to the next color, and this pattern was called, or this section was called Picking Daisies. I'm looking there because I've got my pattern there. So this is Picking Daisies, and you can see the little daisy motif right here. That's repeated all the way along. And then we moved into, I think it was either Rocky Road. I think that part is Rocky Road. Let me just double check here. Yeah, Rocky Roads. This was a super interesting stitch pattern. You do some increases and decreases to make these bumps along the way. And then the final pattern of this clue is Setting Sun. And you can see that that motif looks like a setting sun. So just a short time before I started recording, clue 5 came into our inboxes. And I took a glance at it. I'm not going to say anything about it other than to say that some of what I thought might happen is going to happen, and some of it is very unpredictable. So that's what's been very fun about this, just trying to guess what's coming next and not always guessing correctly. So I'm not sure if I can get the whole thing in shot. I'm going to cover up my face with that hope. I think that gives you an idea. So yeah, that is it for clue 4 of the Mountain Musings, yes, Mountain Musing shawl. And I can't wait to show you clue 5 next episode. I can't wait to start working on it either. All right, that is it for all the actual finished projects and works in progress. So let's talk a little bit about future projects. I thought it would be fun, since we're right close to the beginning of the month. I always think it's fun to open my October personal sock yarn club, you know, with all of you. In very few cases I have remembered what's inside. I will say I think I know what's in here, but I'm not positive. So let's find out. No, it's not what I thought it was at all. See, you never know. This, I've been really excited about working with this skein. So it is from Biscot Yarns. It is their Bis sock, and this is the Hudson Memories colorway. So it is reminiscent of Hudson's Bay blankets. And this skein is kind of special to me because I have some ancestors that worked for the Hudson's Bay Company back in the late 1700s and early 1800s. And so that's part of my family heritage. And this is also just such an iconic Canadian color combination, and these Hudson's Bay blankets are just part of our Canadian identity. The Hudson's Bay Company still exists. It's now called The Bay, and it's a department store, and I don't even think I'm not even sure if it's owned by a Canadian company anymore. Hudson's Bay Company was originally a British company anyway, but still, yeah, that's something I am really looking forward to casting on, because yeah, this is one of those skeins that it was never the right time, that I was kind of, you know, it's too precious, and now I have the perfect excuse to cast it on. That's part of why I did this personal sock yarn club this year, is to put those special skeins in as part of that, and so that I would be sort of forced to knit them up. So, oh, cannot wait, cannot wait. That, the one I thought it would have been fine, but this makes me really, really happy. So there, that's awesome. Something else that I'm going to be casting on. So we are also at the end of September drawing the third quarter of the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Make It Your Own Make Along is also coming to an end. I have a feeling that sentence was a run-on sentence that didn't end up making any sense. Let's try it again. The third quarter of the Fiber Nymph Dye Works Make It Your Own Make Along is coming to an end in a few days. And so my Spring Fling cowl and my apple turnover socks will qualify for that. But what I plan to cast on as part of it, my theme is going to be the 4 seasons again. I've had that as my theme the whole year. And I'm going to cast on some scrappy socks using the leftovers of my winter palette half skein set that I used to make my snow melt shawl as part of the second quarter's. Sorry, did I say? Yeah, I knit this in the third quarter. Take a deep breath, start again. I knit the snow melt shawl for the third quarter of this make along, and now I'm going to use the leftovers to make some scrappy socks for the fourth quarter. So don't have very much of this blue left over, very, very tiny amount. I'm thinking about doing, I'm going to do them from the toe up so I can make sure that I have enough yarn. I was thinking about using the variegated one as heels, toes, and cuffs, but I've reconsidered that, and I'm just going to, I think I'm going to do the heels, toes, and cuffs in 3 different colors, and then stripe these other ones somehow. So yeah, I think it'll be fun. I'm definitely going to be, I've already weighed the skeins, so I have an idea of what I have. I have 80 grams all together, so plenty for a pair of socks. But I have to figure out the proportions, and so I'll know, you know, how many rounds I can get out of each colorway. So therefore, when I'm doing the stripes, I'll know how wide to make the stripes and how often to repeat the colors. So a little bit of math and figuring out on that, but I'm really, really looking forward to knitting with these yarns again, because they are so pretty, and it was such a pleasure the first time around. I am not usually one who uses all my scraps up right away, but now I've done it with that Spring Fling Party of 5 set, and now with these, and it's been really satisfying to kind of see that I can get a whole other project out of, you know, one set of minis, or in this case, a half skein set. I have one acquisition to share with you. It's actually 3 things, but it's all part of one. I think it was back in the summer. I got a newsletter from Sweet Fiber Yarn, or Sweet Fiber Yarns, to say they were doing a fall sock club. Now, it would be one shipment, and I just couldn't resist. I love Melissa's yarns, and so I went ahead and signed up for it, and the yarns arrived this week. So I'm gonna take them out of the bag because the plastic always, you know, dulls the colors. You can't really get a good look. So there are 3 skeins of her Super Sweet sock, which is an 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon base. And there's this one, just called Smolder. Wonder if that's gonna micro stripe, because it looks like it's like half and half. Then there's this one, it's called Autumn Day. We don't yet have all these colors around here yet. Trees are starting to change, but just barely. And then this one's beautiful. It's a beautiful shade of red called Apple Picking. Gorgeous. So they definitely look beautiful together, but I haven't yet decided if I'm going to try and find a project to use all of them in, or if I will knit them individually. But in the meantime, I'm just admiring them because I think they're gorgeous autumnal colorways, and I'm really pleased that I did go ahead and order them. All right, that is it for yarn stuff. Mother Nature, once again, is just in a really bad mood. It's just been terrible to see the devastating footage, all the wreckage that Hurricane Fiona left behind. And then, of course, today, Hurricane Ian is hitting parts of Florida, and some of the images coming out of there are also really, really terrible. So, what do you say? If it's affecting you currently, I hope you manage to stay safe. Chances are, if it's affecting you, you don't have power and you're not watching this at the moment anyway. But yeah, wow, it's I hope this isn't a sign of a really bad hurricane season, because this, we're only, what, I is A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, 9 in. I think that's how they do them, right? Alphabetically from the beginning. So you might be able to tell by the fact that that is my only acquisition. I did not attend Knit City for a few reasons, some of which I talked about last week. And then we had an opportunity to get our COVID boosters on Friday afternoon, and so wasn't too bad. Felt a little off for parts of the following couple of days, and definitely was a bit tender at my injection site, still a little bit tender as I touched there, but thankfully no really bad side effects this time. But I wasn't sure how I would feel. I wasn't really crazy about going on my own. If I'd really wanted to, Cameron probably would have gone with me, but I don't regret not going, other than just to see all that beautiful yarn in one place is always just amazing. We had a couple of sort of last minute spontaneous get-togethers with a couple of our kids this weekend. Friday night, our younger son called up and said, hey, what are you doing? Can we come over? And so they picked up some food on the way over, some for them, some for me. Cameron cooked up some appetizers here that he was interested in. We sat outside and just had a really nice visit around the propane fire, and the lights were coming on as we were sitting outside. It was really nice. And then the following afternoon, my daughter-in-law contacted me and said, hey, what are you guys doing today? Can we come over for happy hour? So they brought some food and we supplied some food, and we sat around the other propane fire that was not on because it was warm enough to sit outside without a fire that day, and or that time of day, and just again had a really nice visit with them. And then they went off to make dinner, and I don't even remember if we made dinner or if our appies were our dinner that night. I think I might have made a piece of toast after or something like that. Did a little bit of garden cleanup finally this week. I've been looking at some shrubs that have needed trimming. I still need to really get out there and weed, but the ground is just so hard right now because we just have not had rain. So I'm kind of waiting for that. But I am glad to at least have tidied some things up a little bit. What else have I got written down here? Oh yeah, and then curling again. I did curl. I spared last Wednesday. I think I mentioned that last week that I was going to be sparing and playing with my older sister. So that was fun. And then curled again Monday night. That's our regular curling, and we won our first game. Not that we played well, because we didn't, but we played quite a new team and they just didn't play as well. We didn't play well, but they played worse. So we did get a victory out of it. So hey, we'll take them where we can get them. I don't think we're going to have a lot of them this year, but we're having fun. We're starting to gel as a team, and that's the important thing. All right, I think that's it. So I'm going to say goodbye for now. I am hoping to be back again next week to record. We do have various things going on for the next couple of weekends, and then we are heading away for a week's working holiday on the 15th. But I should have time to record next week, and by then I'll have at least part of Clue 5 to show you of the Mountain Musings shawl. So I can't wait to share that with you. And by then I should have some new socks cast on too. So have yourselves a great week, and thank you for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye for now.